Why are you crying?
I've heard over the years, right? I've
Uh-huh.
heard pieces of everything, and for the most part, I know the big events and all the things, right?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
Because your story is very unique,
Uh-huh.
and I think that the person that you are, when looking at you on the outside, you'd never be able to tell
Yeah.
everything that you've gone through.
I'm a happy guy.
You are. You're so happy and so grateful.
Yeah.
And
Hello, I'm Tijani Musa.
I'm Yasmin Musa, and this is how we're doing it.
Welcome to How We're Doing It. Here we share stories about our journey and experiences of being first-generation college graduates, our family, buying our first home, moving across the country, and living a debt-free lifestyle. We do so in an authentic, fun, and educational way to help other first-generation immigrants with similar paths. So,
Tijani, what are we talking about today?
I bet you've been waiting your entire life.
No.
When I say life, like your entire podcasting life.
Yeah, okay. I was about to correct you. I was going to say, I have not been waiting for this my entire life. Maybe I've been waiting for it the entirety of this podcast, but not my life.
You just wanted to ask me what we are doing today.
Yes. What are we talking about today?
Okay. I'll give you a pass. Today, you get to ask me, and I get to tell you what we're doing today.
Okay.
All right. So, you want to ask me again or just go ahead?
No, just go ahead.
All right. So, today, what I'm going to talk about is my life journey.
Okay.
Our opening is always talking about how we share our life experiences. So, today, the listeners would get the opportunity to get to know me, where I came from to where I am now.
Okay. All right.
So basically my life story.
Okay.
And the reason behind it is what we said about your story is that we want the listeners to be connected with us. We want to be connected to the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to be able to share comfortably and being authentic about sharing our life with them so that they know where we come from.
Yeah.
And by doing that, hopefully sharing all the obstacles and all the triumphs and all the hardships that I've undergone, hopefully there are lessons within them that somebody can take away from.
Absolutely.
All right. So to begin, I am from West Africa, Sierra Leone. Most people know Sierra Leone from the movie Blood Diamond. But today, I want you to get to know Sierra Leone as a country on the west coast of Africa. Is a very small country, a population of about 8 million people. It's a beautiful country, beautiful people, beautiful culture. And I encourage you, matter of fact, to visit when you get the opportunity to do so.
Yes, I second that.
And Yasmin has been to my country. She's got to see my people. She's got to live with them. She's got to eat with them. And like you said, you endorse people visiting Sierra Leone.
I do. I think Sierra Leone's tourism has so much potential because it's, guys, think beautiful country right like by the water. Like where we were staying was near beaches. You have access to some of the most delicious fresh seafood.
Oh, yeah.
And then not just that, but the culture, like it's a country where the people are just so kind and they just want to cater to you, basically. I know your family did everything to make us as comfortable as they could. And
yep, they just wanted to serve.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so I was born in Sierra Leone. My dad is originally from Nigeria. And my dad came from Nigeria, went to Sierra Leone, and that's where he met my mom. And according to the stories, my mom married to my dad at the age of 15 or 16 years old. So she married when she was very young. And so my dad and my mom were very busy. They had 8 boys, no girls.
Your mom always wanted the girl, though.
Yes. So I have 7 brothers. I'm number 6 in the ranking from top to bottom. I'm number 6. And story goes that my mom has always wanted a girl. So she thought that every other child after the first one was supposed to be a girl. And so she was in this journey of wanting a girl. 8 boys later, she still did not get any girls. And so that's how my mom, according to her, ended up with 8 boys because she was looking for that one girl. And my mom and I were very close. We're still very close. Reasons being, she was very confident, at a 95% confident, that she thought that I was going to be a girl. And so when she had me, she said, "Man, I thought you were going to be a girl. I can't believe another boy." And guess what happened? I started crying, started bleeding because of what my mom said. She thought I was going to die. And she thought that because she said what she said, she thought that me as a child, I thought that she didn't love me. And so I was crying, bleeding. And until she changed the tone, I stopped crying. That's how the story went.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess I was supposed to be a girl. But this is this is why I'm very close to my mom. All right. So my mom and I are very close.
I think she just loves you the most.
Uh
I wonder what your brothers will have to say about
yeah,
this.
after they listen to this episode.
I'm just kidding, guys.
Don't create any
She loves
enemies
you
for
all
me.
equally.
So I grew up with 7 brothers, no sisters. My day-to-day growing up in West Africa, Sierra Leone is I was born in the village. And so in my early years, I did not go to school. And so I spent a lot of time playing soccer or football outside with my friends, with my brothers, barefoot, because I grew up poor, could not afford cleats or shoes to play soccer. The shoes that I had as a child was for main things, like maybe going on a walk with my mom, going to the stores, or if my mom were to take me somewhere, I'll put on those shoes. So I was definitely not wearing those shoes to play soccer or get them dirty, because during my early years of growing up, soccer was like religion. Soccer was life. And so we play soccer in the rain, we play soccer in the sun, we play soccer in the mud, we play soccer in any type of weather. And this was going on until the war broke out in my country. A civil war. Horrific civil war broke out in my country. And so by the time the war reached my village, there was chaos already happening in my village. And so we were uprooted from my village and we had to flee to save our lives. So my family, my mom, my brothers flee our village on foot.
Oh, wow.
And so we walked miles and miles and miles and miles. I was being carried because I was a young kid then. This was in the 90s when I was born. And so we had to we had to find a place or refuge in another country. And so this is how we ended up in one of Sierra Leone's neighboring country of Guinea. And so we were in Guinea, you know, fortunately we were able to contact our brother who was here in the United States at the time. And my brother, who was the eldest in our family, had left Sierra Leone to come to study abroad. And so he practically lived abroad because he was a young kid when he left Sierra Leone. And so when the war broke out, he wasn't in the country anymore. And so when we flee Sierra Leone to Guinea, we were able to reconnect with him. And that's when he started the application for us to come to the United States as refugees.
Wow.
And so that's the moment that we realized that life as we knew it changed. So everything that I grew up knowing, everything that I grew up eating, everything that I grew up living with, friends, family members, the ones that survived the war, I had to leave them behind.
Hmm.
And so also, just going back to the war, people were devastated. People were killed, women raped, young kids were killed in front of their mothers, children were abducted, taken away from their parents. And so my family and I were one of the lucky ones. We were one of the blessed ones that escaped the war and left to Guinea to seek refuge with no injuries. You've been to my country. You've seen a lot of people that have amputated
Yeah.
hands. During the war, people were captured and their hands were amputated or cut because of violence.
Or their feet.
Or their feet.
Mm-hmm.
So my country was experiencing a lot of orphans because of the war, due to the war. And the war basically ruined the economy of Sierra Leone and left so many people internally displaced and also refugees. And my family and I, we fell into the boat of being refugees. Refugees are people that are displaced outside of their country. And so, fortunately, in Guinea, we were there for several months to years, going through the process of being, doing the interviews and getting vetted to become refugees in the United States. And again, luckily, with blessings and prayers, we were selected and we came to the United States September 28th, 2005.
Wow. So this whole time that you're in Guinea, are you like in a refugee camp? Were you there with like other people that you fled with? I know you said you left everyone behind. So who were you with?
Yes, so in Guinea, for one, I was with my immediate family, my nuclear family, my mom and my brothers. And unfortunately, my dad did not make it to Guinea. We lost him during the war. He was sick and it wasn't helping because of the illness, because of the violence. Everything that happened just led up to us losing him during the war. And so when we came to Guinea, we were there with people that have roots in Guinea.
Mm.
So their ancestors also were from Guinea. And so those people were like, I guess you can say that we were neighbors in the village. And so when we came to Guinea, they were like sort of like guides.
Okay.
And they helped us understand what was happening during our stay in Guinea because Guinea speaks French.
Mm-hmm.
In my country, we speak English is the official language. British English is the official language in Sierra Leone. In addition to 18 different dialects that people speak in Sierra Leone. And so the neighbors that we fled with that came to Guinea with us were the people that helped us reconnect with our brother who was here and going through all the processes that we needed to be vetted as refugees and get accepted to come to the United States.
Wow. So it was a neighbor that had roots in that country.
Yes.
That basically said, come with us.
Yes.
And you guys followed them. Wow.
Yeah, we had to follow because we had no choice.
Yeah.
We were either going to get destroyed in Sierra Leone or perish in our own country or flee. And so we went with the option of fleeing to seek safety.
Wow.
So, so starting out, growing up in Sierra Leone, life was fun. We didn't have anything. But as a family, we were together. Mm-hmm. My mom, my dad, my siblings, we were all together. Matter of fact, growing up, we all ate in the same pan or bowl. You already saw that when you went to Sierra Leone. Mm-hmm. We don't eat with spoons.
No.
Because they said our fingers, SPOON, the
each
five
finger
fingers
represents a letter.
Yep. Each finger represents a letter and together they spell spoon. Mm-hmm. So in my country, we eat with bare hands because for many reasons. One of them being that when you eat with your bare hand, you can grab a lot more than eating with a spoon. So if you're eating with a spoon, I grew up with 7 brothers. Everybody is a warrior and you're the only one person eating with a spoon. Chances are you're not going to get full and the food would finish before you know it. Because we are all eating in the same bowl. Yeah. Like when I say eating together, we're not like at a dinner table where you have your own plate, I have my own plate. No, we're eating in the same big bowl
It's like a
together.
large
It's
plate
a
where
large plate,
all the food is placed,
and the
right?
food is right in there. We're all eating
Mm-hmm.
together as a family.
Yeah.
We did not have much, but we had that togetherness, and we had
Mm-hmm.
that close knit bond with my brothers and my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And so that's how we grew up. And so we were very close. My oldest brothers were very close with us. They were working because they didn't have the opportunity to go to school. They were working to help my father feed us. So everybody knew their role. They were helping my father to take care of us. And so that's how we grew up. We were tight. We were very respectful to one another, and we care about each other, and we loved each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so we came to the United States. When we came to the United States, I did not come to the United States with all of my brothers. I came to the United States with four of my seven brothers. Three of them were back home. The reason why they were back home is because the two oldest brother, they did not qualify to be on the application. And the youngest one, Yusuf, also did not qualify to be on the application because my oldest brother, when he filed for the application, he did not include his name because he didn't know he was born.
Oh.
And so that's how we ended up leaving behind three of our brothers.
So your two older brothers, you say they didn't qualify. Why
Because
was that?
age.
Age.
Yeah, because
Okay.
my brother was filing for them. They did not qualify because
They were over
they
what age? At 18?
yeah, they were over the age of 21.
Oh, okay.
And so they did not qualify for the application.
Yeah.
All right, so and that's the reason why they stayed behind. My mom and four of my other brothers, we came to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
When we came to the US, we stayed with the brother that filed the application for us. At the time when we came, 1 month into the country, September 28, 2005, 1 month into the country, his wife at the time was living in London. So his wife basically had to go back to London, and they had a 6-month-old baby. My mom was watching the baby because the wife had to go back to London. That's
Mm-hmm.
where she was a citizen in
Of.
London.
Mm-hmm.
And so during that time, my mom was watching the baby. My brother who brought us here, we stayed with him. We were just learning each other. He was learning us. We were learning him. But along the lines or along this journey, there were complications that started happening, misunderstanding. The brother that filed for us to come over here is not the brother that my mom was describing when we were younger. The brother that my mom described when we were younger was a passionate, compassionate, loving brother. He was the brother that filed for us. But when we got here, the brother that we met is a different brother. It's a brother that wasn't taking the time to understand us. And maybe we played a part in it too, because we did not understand the system here. We don't know how things are going on here. And so misunderstanding came into it. And unfortunately, maybe a year into living here in the US, as we were learning the culture and assimilating to the culture, he kicked us out of his house.
Wow. And where did you go?
So I came with my brothers, two older ones, Aliyu and Ismail. They were not that much older. Maybe they were just a little,
Just like two,
like,
3 years.
yeah, 2, 3 years, like maybe teenagers,
Yeah.
right? And so Ishmael was the oldest of the six of us, right? And so he had to find a way to work at Burlington Coat Factory, making money, and alongside with Aliyu, whatever he was making, together we went and rented a 2-bedroom apartment. My mom was living in one of the rooms, and my brothers and I would share the other room, and we had like mattresses, and we were sleeping on the floor, those type of things. And so when we were doing that stuff, we were living together for another 2 years. At this point, when I first came to the United States, I started out in middle school, in 7th grade. And so at this point, it's 2, 3 years down the road, and I finished 7th grade. I came to the U.S. learning English, those type of things. The ESOL program, English for speakers of other languages, I was enrolled in that. And a year and 2 years after being in the U.S., I graduated from that program in 8th grade. And then I was in high school. And so when I was in high school, I was working at the dollar store. That's where I met Maria.
Mm-hmm.
And so while I was working at the dollar store, I was living with my brothers. Aliyu and Ishmael were the oldest ones who were taking care of us, right? So they were working. And then a few months or maybe a year or so into this living together with my brothers, Aliyu decided that he wants to go live by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem with that is that Ishmael isn't making enough money working at Burlington Coat Factory. This is my senior year of high school, right? So when Aliyu said that he was going to leave to go live by himself, that put a strain into our finances. And the place that we could afford with him, barely could afford with him, is no longer affordable for
Mm-hmm.
just Ishmael's income. And so now the question is that, what do we do?
Yeah.
How do we handle this situation? And we had no options pretty much. So the only option that we had was we need to go back to our brother who kicked us out and beg him to come back to him and accept us. That option is not going to work out because he won't accept us. And so, okay, we said, so now what do we do? We called him and begged him and told him that he needed to take our mom.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, we're going to fend for ourselves. And so, fortunately, because that's his mom, he accepted
Yeah.
the offer and our mom went to live with him. And this was my senior year of high school. In high school, I was engaged in different sports, different activities, different extracurricular activities. So now that the place that we were living together, we lost the place because one of my brothers is leaving. We can't afford it anymore. I became homeless. My mom went with my oldest brother who brought us to the country. Ishmael can no longer afford the place. So what do we do? I'm with my younger brother, Abdul. Why are you crying?
I've heard over the years, right? I've
Uh-huh.
heard pieces of everything, and for the most part, I know the big events and all the things, right?
Uh-huh.
It doesn't make it any easier.
Yeah.
Because your story is very unique,
Uh-huh.
and I think that the person that you are, when looking at you on the outside, you'd never be able to tell
Yeah.
everything that you've gone through.
I'm a happy guy.
You are. You're so happy and so grateful,
Yeah.
and it, I admire that about you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, let's keep going.
Okay, let me stop.
So this is you have to promise me you're gonna stop crying.
I will. I'm
You-
gonna try.
Okay. My wife is losing it. She's bawling out. Her eyes are like her mic is like swimming in tears. All right. So now Ishmael is losing the place because we can't afford it anymore. And so the option is that my mom is gonna stay with my oldest brother. Luckily, he accepted her. We put my mom with my oldest brother. And so because I'm in high school, I did not want to transfer schools in the middle of that because I have a lot of relationships that I formed while I was there. The early identification program, which we've talked about in the past, which helped us from middle school all the way through high school. All my mentors were all in my high school. And so I did not want to transfer schools in the middle of graduation pretty much. So I came to my high school coach, my track coach, Coach Ferry. The situation is that I was living with my two older brothers. One of them is leaving, and the other one that's left can't afford the place anymore. I work at the dollar store. I'm not making enough money to help him, so we can't afford a place. So the situation is that I'm gonna be homeless, and I can no longer participate in the track and field or your football team.
Oh, it was both.
Yep, I was doing football with him and track. So that was one coach. I have my soccer coach, but we're not that close. My football coach was like the coach. So I went and told him that situation. He said, "Oh, okay. Well, that's too bad." I said, "Yeah, it's a bad situation. So, because I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to graduate." And he said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do." I said, "What we're going to do, coach?" He said, "I'm going to go talk to my wife and ask her if it's okay for you to come stay with us until you graduate." I said, "Okay, coach, that sounds good to me. I mean, what else can I lose?" And he went and talked to his wife, and Mrs. Ferry, amazing woman. She said, "Yeah, of course. Tijani can come over and stay with us."
It wasn't just you.
That's right. Remember, I said I have a little brother by the name of Abdul. Abdul always wanted to go where I am. He wasn't going to leave to go anywhere else if I'm not going there. So, but when I came and talked to my coach, I told him, I said, "I'm homeless. I don't got no place to go." So he was talking to his wife just for me.
Yeah.
And then I realized the next day, I said, "Oh, coach, I forgot to tell you, my younger brother, Abdul, is with me." And the coach had to make an executive decision. He had to make an executive decision right there. And he said, "I guess you and your brother are coming to stay with us." This was September 22nd, 2010. It was,
Wow, the beginning of your senior year.
yep,
You
it's
weren't even
winter.
that. Yeah, you weren't. Well, fall.
Yep,
But
it was a cold day.
you weren't even that far into your senior
Nope,
year.
I
You
just
would have
started.
missed the whole thing.
Yep, I just started. 2010. So my coach said, "Yeah, y'all can come stay with us. But remember, the deal was I'll come stay with them until I graduate. And I'm bringing a baggage, my brother, my little brother." So Abdul came to stay with me. My coach, luckily, his younger daughter, Andrea, went to Tennessee for school, university. And so we took her room. Abdul was sleeping on the bed and I was sleeping on the floor. So that's how we stayed with my coach, my high school football coach and my high school football track and coach. We stayed with him and his wife. My brother was with me and we were staying there. And I'm supposed to graduate June of 2011.
Yeah.
So like about 6 months till graduation. So I was staying with my coach. He became like a father figure for me. He would drop me off on the weekend to the dollar store where I work at, and then he would pick me up after work. Abdul was too young to work, so basically, when whatever money I was making at the dollar store, I was just using it for personal things for me and Abdul, and then also to cover the rest of my lunch because I was getting free or reduced lunch at the school because I'm poor. I guess I was poor. I'm not. I'm not too poor anymore. So yeah. So that situations happened with my coach, and then after graduation, or maybe a few months, maybe a couple months or maybe weeks before graduation, I came back to the coach, his wife. I told him the plan is for us to still leave after graduation. And so the question is, where do we go after graduation? I'm still I was barely an adult, 17 years old. Where do we go? That's when I said, "You know what? I work with this African lady by the name of Maria. If you remember, I mentioned Maria in the beginning." So I went to Maria. I said, "Maria, this is the dollar store lady." I said, "The situation is that I used to live with my brothers. Now I live with my coach. But I told my coach that after graduation from high school, I'm supposed to leave his house. And I want to keep that promise. because I don't want him to. I don't want to burden him and his wife. And so Maria said, "Yeah, you and Abdul can come stay with me." Game changer.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, we appreciate that." So Maria had a 2-bedroom apartment. She has what, 4 kids?
Mm-hmm.
So
Kids that were younger than you
the
at the
kids were
time.
very young
Yeah.
at the time. And so we had to share space with them. We all slept on the floor. The kids sleep on the mattress. I sleep in the closet.
Like a clothing closet.
Like a clothing closet. Like you come, it's not like a big walk-in closet. It's like this closet right here. You walk in, the space is finished. So I sleep in the closet. So basically my head is in the closet, my feet are outside of the door. So I
Okay.
can't really lock the closet door because my feet are so long and
It's not like a primary bedroom,
no. It's not a
walk-in
walk-in. No.
closet. It's
I
it's
wish.
literally a closet.
Yep, I wish it was a walk-in closet. That would have been a room.
That would have been a room. Yeah.
Yeah. So I slept in the closet. My brother Abdul slept with the, now I call them my cousins, Maria's kids. And Maria is with, she slept in the room with her and her man. So one of the rooms is hers. And me, Abdul, and the kids, we have one room. And I have the closet because I was the older one. So I get my own private closet, even though my feet don't fit in the closet. So graduation happened. I graduated from high school. So now, when I was planning to go to college, right, I had to think strategically what I'm going to do. I went to an in-state college for a reason. One of them being is that the early identification program helped us and provided us all the resources to have access to higher education. And so that's one reason. And the other reason is that I'm poor. So I can only afford in-state tuition. But the strategic thing that I did was that I had to go live on campus. And I didn't choose to go live on campus because I can afford to live on campus. I chose to live on campus because I knew that I did not have a place to stay. And so living on campus was the best option for me at that time. My university is about 25 to 30 minutes away from Maria's place. And so living on campus, it's not, financially, it's not a smart thing to do. I could have drove, but where am I going to get the car from? I don't have a car.
Well, and even if you said like public transportation, where are you gonna find like
Yeah,
the
how do I get to,
money?
yeah, how am I going to find the money to afford the public transportation? And how do I get to the public transportation?
Yeah, that too. Because you
So,
at least have to
yeah,
walk or ride a bike.
or ride a bike.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford any of those. So the strategic move was to live on campus, and that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
So on campus, I was living on campus for my first year, and yet again, I had to decide on another strategic move. If I'm gonna continue living on campus, it's gonna cost me a lot of money. So I became an RA, resident advisor,
Mm-hmm.
and so being an RA at George Mason University, my room was covered.
Mm-hmm.
And so I only had to worry about my food.
Yeah.
And so when I'm living on campus, at least for the time that I'm in school, I don't have to worry about a place to stay. Maria only had to worry about taking care of my little brother Abdul,
Who was still in high school.
who was still in high school. So I basically reduced the level of burden. Instead of taking care of both of us, Maria was watching my brother while I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I became an RA. And the reason why I became an RA is because so that I have a place to stay.
Yeah. You were homeless, basically.
I was by definition, I was homeless.
Yeah, by definition.
And so in college, I had to work several jobs to cover not only tuition, but also transportation during off season, like the holiday season. If I want to come back to Maria, I should be able to afford to take public transportation or the train or the bus. And so I work 2, 3 jobs on campus because I could only afford to work on campus jobs because once again, I did not
You
have
didn't have the transportation.
transportation to
Yeah.
work off campus. So 2, 3 jobs. I was using that money for food, for my clothes, and also to help my little brother Abdul, who was staying with me at Maria's house. And so as an RA, this is the secret. When holiday comes around, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people want to go home. They want to go to their families.
Mhm.
Guess what I was doing?
You were staying.
I had to stay on campus. And as RAs, when the holiday season comes, for example, if there's a winter break,
Mhm.
a set of RAs on your staff would stay for winter break.
Mhm.
When the other break comes, another set would volunteer to stay while the first set that volunteer for the winter break go home.
Mhm.
Guess what I was doing?
You were staying home for all of it.
I was volunteering for all of those breaks. My friends, my coworkers, colleagues thought that I was just being kind. I was just being nice. Tijani is so nice. He's such
Tijani took Christmas Day so we
yeah,
can all be with our families.
exactly. He took Christmas Day so we can be with our family. He's such a nice coworker. Little did they know, I didn't have a place to go.
Yeah.
So I had to take that Christmas Day and stay on campus for as long as I could.
Yeah.
And so that's how I survived when I was in college. And
Well,
that's
what
how
did you
I
eat during
used
those days?
the system.
Because most like campus food places closed because barely anyone was there.
That's right. That the campus place is closed, but as an RA, they also give us a stipend.
Oh.
They pay us $75 every 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So that's how I became a financial advisor. How do I make sure that my $75 lasts me 2 weeks until everybody comes back and the campus food is open? That's one. Luckily, because we went to an technically an internationally known university, they had to stay open, but the hours were different because of international students that were living on campus.
Who couldn't afford to go home?
Yeah, who couldn't afford to go home. Even though I was 25 minutes away, I was like an international student pretty much because I couldn't afford to go home either because I didn't have a home to go to. So they had to open the campus for those reasons. They had to partially open dining,
Like
reduce staff. Yeah,
probably
yeah,
less food options, but still available.
exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's how I navigated my life from middle school to high school to college and had to make strategic decisions and moves to ensure that my life, because at this point in my life, right, it was so easy to give up and say that, oh, my brothers give up on me and blah, 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 make all the reasons I could be selling drugs or something like that or be on the street. But the hardest thing I had to do was to stay locked in
Yeah.
and continue to push because my little brother is watching me. He's watching
Mm-hmm.
my moves. So if I were to make any wrong moves, I was not only destroying me, I was destroying him too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that. At a very young age, I knew that I had to grow up faster than
Yeah, I was
my
just gonna
friends.
say that. Like you were a child. You're a
Yeah.
high schooler making these adult decisions
Yes.
and being faced with homelessness, being faced with not having a lot of money for food and
Mm-hmm.
not being able to be with your mom,
Yep.
like all these different things when you were a kid.
Yep. Yep. So it was a crazy time. And I remember saying that, when my friends in high school were going to like the movies or hanging out with their boyfriends and girlfriends and whatnot, I was busy working at the dollar store trying to make ends meet. I didn't have time to go to the movies. I didn't even know where the movies were. So I was taking care of my responsibility at a very young age. So that's how life was, in high school
Wow.
and college.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, In college, I did what I had to do, stay locked in, find ways to win scholarships. And when I say win scholarships, I took advantage of these life experiences that I've been through
Mm-hmm.
and basically use them to my advantage. So, what most people will see as disadvantages, obstacles, hardships, and whatnot, those were my advantages because I used those stories, I used my life experiences, wrote them down on essays, and those essays won me scholarships.
Yeah.
And I used that scholarship money to pay for my undergraduate degree.
Did you get scholarships through EIP or through friends of EIP? How did you
I
get them?
I did not get scholarship through the early identification program, which is EIP, but they helped me win scholarships through their
Through their
partners.
partners, friends of EIP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the scholarships that I had won, which I told you about, is one with Mr. Eshuman. Mr.
Mhm.
Eshuman is a family friend of mine.
Mhm.
He's like 70 years old. And I basically, when I was in high school, I wrote an essay about applying to a homeless scholarship. And so I won the homeless scholarship, $250. It was supposed to be one time scholarship. And was it 250? I don't even remember how much now. Maybe it was more than that. It could have been $1,000. Who knows? I would have to go back and check my records. But I won the scholarship. It was supposed to be one time, and so when I met Mr. Eshuman, he became like an unofficial mentor of mine.
Yeah.
And Mr. Eshuman made sure that
Oh, every semester.
every single
Wow.
semester, he renewed that scholarship through his
Wow.
church.
Oh, that's
It was
great.
supposed to be one time,
Yeah.
but when he met me, he understood what I went through. He just fell in love with me.
Oh,
He
yeah.
invited me to his house to meet his wife, his kid, and he ensured that throughout my studies, I won that scholarship every single semester.
Wow. I'll never forget. I met them at graduation, Mr. and Mrs. Eshelman.
Yeah,
They were so sweet.
wonderful
They were
people.
just excited and so happy for you. You had a crowd at graduation.
Yes, yes. And I got to that graduation because of all the help of those people,
Yeah.
starting from my coach who took me in when I was homeless
Mhm.
to all the mentors that I've had throughout my journey. If it wasn't for them, I don't know, life would have been different.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have graduated, but I don't know that I would graduate on time or at the pace that I graduated in.
Mhm.
So those are things that happened, in my life. But since then, I guess things have changed. I went into high school, graduated from high school 2011, enrolled at George Mason University that fall, August 24, I guess, 2011.
You have an exact
I
date.
know all the dates. I got the RA job August 12, 2012, my sophomore year.
Mhm.
2015, May 14, 2015, graduated from undergrad. And then obviously in college, I met you and you became my college sweetheart. And we got
Mhm.
married in 2019.
Mhm.
I met you in my sophomore year.
It was between sophomore and junior year.
Yeah.
It was over the summer break.
Yeah. So I met you between that transitional phase right around when I was becoming an RA. So
No, you were already an
I
RA
was already
for
an
one
RA.
year.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
because I
That's why I
remember.
reached out to you because
That's
you
right.
were a seasoned
I
RA.
was I was one of the best RAs for the reasons that
You
I
were
mentioned because
popular, yeah.
everybody thought that I was being nice, but I was surviving,
Oh.
and so I was very good at my job because I had all the time.
See, and I think like when you're looking at it, right, like big picture, like you
Yeah.
really just never know what somebody is going through.
Right.
For me, when I would see you like at that summer event, like summer events, like when we were working together that summer,
Yeah.
you were always happy, laughing,
Yes.
everybody knew you,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd never be able to tell, like, wow, this guy has been through
Yeah.
literally so much
Yeah.
just to be sitting right here next to me.
Yeah. My friends helped me a lot. When I first came to the country, I was learning. Luckily, my country, Sierra Leone, speaks English as an official language. So my transition from British English to the US English was not too steep. So, and my friends in middle school that I met, to this day, I still have them as friends.
Yeah.
They helped me assimilate to the culture. And so I'm very grateful for them. And so along the ways, mentors have helped me as well. So from back then to now, I've accomplished quite a few things. Graduated from my undergrad. Um, I met you while I was in college. We got married in 2019. That's a success. We got out of debt of 35,000, almost $35,000 in debt, and we worked together when we were engaged and
Married.
married. We knocked it off within 8 to 9 months, and we became
Mm-hmm.
debt free in 2019 using Dave Ramsey's baby steps. And then we won a free wedding. That was exciting
That was very exciting.
in 2019 as well. And between 2020 and 2022, I graduated with my master's degree. You also in 2019 you graduated with your master's degree, and that's another accomplishment. We welcome our baby girl in the middle of my midterms in 2021. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we bought our home end of 2022.
You
That's a
graduated with your master's and bought a home in the same year?
no. I had a baby, graduated with
No,
my.
no, no. The baby was in 2021. Nice
Oh,
try.
you right, you right. Okay, within the span of 2 years. I was gonna give 2022 a big, but yes, I graduated in 2022, and a couple months later, we bought a home in 2022.
Crazy.
Insane. From somebody who was sleeping in a closet
Mm-hmm.
to owning their own home.
You know, I when you were talking about you sleeping in the closet, it brought me back to our first week in the house. We have a nice walk-in closet
Yep.
with plenty of space for both of us,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And I found it so funny. I'm like, here we have this huge house, and you picked the closet to go work one day, to do your work out of the
Mm-hmm.
closet.
Yep.
I don't know why. You just picked the closet and you made
Symbolic.
yourself comfortable. I
Symbolic.
took a picture of you. Now that picture means so much more to me.
Yep. It's symbolic because I used to sleep in the closet. Now I walk in my closet. Get it?
Yeah.
Walk-in closet.
You're cheesy.
so so life now is we're still debt free. Working with you as my fiance, as my wife. We're about to celebrate 5 years of marriage
Mm-hmm.
in April, and
In 3 months.
in about 3 months.
Less than 3 months now.
And so, basically, what I'm trying to say is that I'm excited for the future, knowing that my kids are going to start in a different starting blocks compared to where I started, God willing. And so, for people that are listening to this episode, right, the takeaway is that stay the course. It is possible to achieve more with a lot of hard work, a lot of mentors, a lot of blessings, and a lot of discipline. And that's how you achieve more. Stay locked in, stay focused. A lot of things are going to be thrown your way, obstacles, hardships. The odds are going to be stacked against you. But once you stay locked in, stay focused, keep working, stay determined, dedicated, you'll get there. It might take you some time to get there, but trust me, you'll get there. You might not get there at the time that you want to get there. Once again, trust me, you'll get there because there's a God behind you. And there are people that believe in you, and they're going to help you get there. Now the floor is open. You have any questions for me?
I do. So you asked me this question, and now I have to ask you.
Ask it.
What is your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishment. I think I've mentioned to you before that of all the life experiences that I've had when I came to the US, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Virginia, for some reason, I didn't feel like I was in the United States until I came to Texas, but my own home. Because up until then, I mentioned to you before, growing up, we didn't have anything. So we have a very small place and we all were sleeping in the same room. So up until this time, I've never really had my own room.
Yeah.
Or have my own bed. I mean, I guess you could make the case that my on campus stay when I was on campus living on the college bed, you can make the case that I have my own room or my own bed. But I've never had my own bed. I've always shared a room or shared a bed with somebody. Growing up, I shared a room with my brothers. When I was with my coach, I shared a room with my brother Abdul. At Maria's house, I shared a room with the kids because I was in the closet. When I graduated from undergrad, I was renting with my friend, and my little brother was still in the room with me on a pull-out couch while I was on the bed. But I was sharing the room with my little brother.
Yeah.
When I used to date you, you would come over. My little brother would be in the same room you and I were sleeping in.
Yeah.
And so I've never had my own room.
And then you got married, and now you have to share
And
your
I had
room
to,
with me.
you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to die not ever having my own room or bed.
That's not a bad thing.
I don't know. but this is what I mean. So when I see Jasleen and Leo crying about little things, I'm like, Jasleen, you've had your bed since age 0. Leo, you've had your own room since forever.
Yeah.
What's so bad? Like, what's so bad?
But okay, so is
So
your biggest accomplishment?
So my biggest
then?
accomplishment is owning a property, having my own room, and the best bed and best pillows I've ever owned. That's my biggest accomplishment. And I've accomplished a lot, if I should say so myself, like graduating from college. Before owning a real estate like our home, my biggest accomplishment was graduating from college. But now that I own an actual home and knowing all the things that I just mentioned to you, this house is my biggest accomplishment because now I know that I am living in the United States and the opportunities are limitless.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being vulnerable with us.
Yes.
I know you, and I've heard bits and pieces of the stories for a decade now, right?
Yes.
I've never heard it the way you presented it today, because I think you were very raw about the experience.
Yes.
And I think to a certain extent, like, your personality came out in the way that, like, yes, I faced all these obstacles, but nevertheless, I'm over here smiling.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for the blessings. And without having gone through that, I wouldn't be where I am.
Absolutely.
And I think, I really feel like our listeners can take a lot, from today's episode.
I hope so.
If nothing, just being grateful.
Yes.
And knowing that your hard is hard, but it can get easier.
Yes. Absolutely. That's how I've always seen things. Because as hard as my life experiences are, I always have it in the back of my head that somebody else is going through it worse than I am. And so knowing that, it just gives me courage to keep going. So that's the reason why I keep smiling and I complain less, because I know somebody else is going through it. And some people don't get the chance or the opportunity to tell their stories because they may not make it out of it. Mm-hmm. So that's what keeps me going. And then I met you. You just added to my life. And I have nothing to complain about.
That's good.
I'm making you want to cry more.
No, I'm not crying anymore.
Okay. Then maybe we should end this podcast episode here.
Yeah. Before I start crying again.
Let's end it here then. Thank you for listening to another episode of How We're Doing It. We want to hear from you. Contact us at hwdipodcast@gmail.com or leave a comment. If you like the show, consider subscribing in order to get notified of new episodes. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again on the next episode.
Mama. Bye-bye.